If you're feeling like the connection that you have with them isn't as deep as it could be, then you know what? You clicked on the right video. And if you watch towards the end, I'm gonna give you guys a story of someone who actually managed to apply every little thing that I said in this video so that you guys can see the power of these strategies. You're going to uncover an unorthodox way to unlock emotions and create deep bonds based on psychological principles. You will learn how to unlock hearts to create obsessions, passion, and a profound connection that penetrates reality. If you want to finally end superficial connections, relationships that only last 1 or 2 months, and you want to be able to extend them in a way that's respectable, in a way that makes you feel good about yourself, then watch this full video or else I'm closing the channel. And by the way, this video is sponsored by all of the clients that work with Father Alex one-on-one. If you guys want to work with me one-on-one and you're dating someone who you feel like the connection isn't as deep as it could be and you want to deepen it, well, you guys can work with me one-on-one, sponsor the channel, and I can show you guys how to apply this strategy to your life in a one specific way. In a way that most people just watch my channel and they don't know how to really apply it. Well, I'll be listening to your story and give you live feedback as to what to do and what not to do. This is usually the best way to apply my strategies because sometimes you only do the easy part. All right, you do everything but want to walk away. Okay, so working with me one-on-one, I will make sure that you do everything that I say. All right, let's begin with the video. Okay, so to me, the most important thing is learning to be a challenge. This one is really more about acting. You gotta understand, everyone is eager, right? Everyone is really putting on an act. Most people are highly desperate and feel a complete sense of no control over their emotions. And because of that, it's very difficult for people to actually act like a challenge, but people try, and a lot of people do a pretty good job at it, right? They're able to put on a mask and act like they have confidence until you test them, right? What you want to be able to do is penetrate those defenses. Why? Because people put up those defenses as a challenge to other people to penetrate them. The issue is that we have lost the art of being a challenge. We have lost the art of being a challenge. And how do you become a challenge? Well, there are some strategies, some basic strategies that you guys can implement today that will make you into a challenge. No matter who you are, no matter how attractive you are, these strategies work on every single person. If they have some form of interest, they will work. All right, let me show you the first one. The first strategy, slowing it down. And for me as a guy, this is honestly, I tell guys this, and a lot of women agree with this, right? And that's that. Even as a guy, slowing it down is so powerful, even more on women. Like it affects this slowing down affects women more than it affects men, in my opinion, because it takes them off guard, right? She might think you have a small dick sometimes, right? But essentially, slowing it down gives you control of the pace of the relationship. You gotta realize if you are not slowing it down, there means they're not pursuing. They're not pursuing. You want to get them in a state where they're the ones pursuing it. They're the ones who want to speed it up, and you're the ones that slows it down. The slowing down process, having the brakes, okay? Having the ability to put on the brakes will give you power. So if you sense, for example, as a guy, right? This is something that I notice as a guy. If I sense that the woman wants me to kiss her on the first date, I'll skip it for the second or even third date, right? If I sense that a woman wants to sleep, for example, I will delay a little bit longer. And even for women as well, this also is an extremely powerful strategy, because it forces them to have to slow down, but also it makes them feel a little awkward. They've been exposed. They know that you like them, and that is leverage, right? Because knowing that I like you is leverage, right? You not knowing how I feel is leverage for me. Why? Because uncertainty makes my imagination go more crazy. It makes me think of you more, right? It's just logical. Another rule that's really cool is rule of three. Now, this rule, if you're a woman, you're not gonna like this rule because I teach this rule to guys. Okay? And if you're a man, you're not gonna like this rule because I teach this rule to women. 3 months, 3 dates. Meaning, If after 3 months the person doesn't want a relationship, get the fuck out. It's not gonna work out, right? Now, what's the other rule three? If after 3 dates the woman doesn't even give you a kiss, even give you a kiss, get the fuck out, bro. Like she don't even give you like a little kiss, a little even like a beach kiss where it's not the lip, it's not the cheek, but it's like in the middle, like a beach, right? Even she doesn't even give you that. Get out of the situation, right? The rule of three is there to save your time. I've seen consistently if a woman doesn't even give me a kiss in 3 dates, it never works out. Never works out. Now I'm saying 3 days. Usually I go with sex, right? But I think maybe things are trending outward. But all I know after 3 dates, if there's no physical contact, I'm out, right? Because it's kind of like, what are you doing here? Like, how much self control you have? Do you even like me, right? It's just natural for you to want to get physically close to the person. But also, if after 3 months the person doesn't want a relationship, you got to get out of that. Right? You're wasting your time if that's what you're looking for. And what this does, people, and I'm telling you, it's not it's not that you demand the kiss, but the willingness to walk away, right? The willingness to walk away literally changes everything how you come across. The say they having you don't tell a woman, yo, if this girl don't give me a kiss, I'm fucking leaving. You don't say that, right? But you mentally say, okay, if after 3 dates there's no any sparks, I'm out, right? This mindset without having to say a word and just having an action based, like just knowing that if this doesn't happen, I'm leaving without saying a word, without demanding it from that person, it literally changes your whole vibe. It actually gives you more of an attractive energy. I mean, people are just drawn to that. They feel very relaxed because they feel like you're not asking anything from them. Being a challenge as well. Another thing about being a challenge is willingness to show negative emotions. This is actually really big, actually. That means when you're bored, you show it. When you're mad, you show it. When you're tired, you show it. When you're annoyed, you show it. When you're agitated, you're not afraid to show those feelings in your face. What that does, that look, don't be an asshole, right? Where you're always mad. I'm saying that if you lean on the side like me, where I'm really nice and I don't really like confrontation as much, even though I learned how to do that, but you know, this is very important for you because the unwillingness to show negative emotions comes across as weakness, right? That's one thing. Um, so being a challenge, right? And not being easily won over. That's another one, right? Now the next one, validating their ego is very important, ladies and gentlemen. This is why, okay? um, even with guys, right? You can think about guys. One of the complaints that guys give a lot nowadays is that they don't feel appreciated by women. They don't feel A lot of guys don't feel needed. A lot of guys feel disposable. With women also, women feel like they're not desirable. Women feel like they're discardable. They feel like guys have access to more women. Like it's funny how women think that guys can just bang any girl they want. Right? It's actually not true. A lot of guys really struggle, but women just don't feel as attractive as they used to, right? They feel unattractive because of comparisons. And this is the source of why a lot of people don't open up emotionally because they just feel insecure to come out into the world and to open up. And and because of that, because of the lack of opening up, it causes people to create a shell around them, where you can't open up, they can't open up, and everyone just doesn't open up. And as a result, people don't have a deep connection as a result of it. What you want to be able to do is to validate their ego, validate their self-opinion if it's positive, not if it's negative. If it's negative, I don't want you guys to do this because you could do this. Like if someone thinks they're a piece of shit, the way to apply this strategy, if they think that they're a piece of shit, is to treat them like a piece of shit. And that's not what we want here. So we're not going to be validating freaking horrible self opinions. We're only validating positive self opinions. So for example, if I'm dating a girl, and she has a certain body type, right? Um, Validating that I like how she looks is very important. Like complimenting it, right? And I know it sounds like, it's funny because a lot of guys, um, will tell people that complimenting a woman is it's validating her too much. Well, that's usually just in the beginning, motherfucker. Like, right? You know what I'm saying? For example, me, right? Validating my ego could be showing me off to your friends, right? Saying how amazing I am, showing my drawings to your friends, right? Or praising me for something that most people don't praise me for. Showing appreciation. So if, for example, if you live at home and I work and you're at home all day, showing me how much you appreciate me with something special, right? And because of guys, nowadays just they don't feel appreciated. But also sometimes it's not just validating their ego, but also hurting their ego, right? Because validating the ego also opens up their hearts to you, but also hurting their ego opens up their hearts so that you can heal them, right? Their ego opens up their heart so that you can heal it with your validation, ladies and gentlemen, right? And because if you could hurt me, you could heal me. To the way it works. So people, it's like when your parents are mean to you and they push you away, what happens to the kid? The kid becomes more drawn to the parents, even more, right? It's not that the kid didn't love the parent before, but now the kid has a negative energy that's making that little motherfucker gravitate towards their parents, right? So hurting their ego, which you could do this through a few ways that are healthy. I think that's a Freudian sleep, right? You could hurt their egos through competition, okay, making them compete. And competition can just be the presence of the opposite sex, right? It doesn't mean you're banging the whole football team. It doesn't mean that it just means that you have friends and you guys hang out sometimes, not alone, right, with the opposite sex, but you hang out in a group, right? um Competition can be you have a work life, and it's almost like a dog that gets pissed off at its owner for having to go to work, right? They take offense to that. People also do that too. When you have a life, they'll try to remove the things in your life so that you can spend more time with them. It's just natural. And what would tend to happen when you start to hurt their ego, and I mean like hurt their ego can also mean it could be praising other people of the opposite sex. Now look, you got to be careful with this, okay? You can't do this on everyone. You got to know the person that you're with. If they are way too insecure, if they're from the Bronx and they're super jealous and they're evil and shit, you got to be careful because you might get, you know what I'm saying? You got to be careful out there, right? So that's one thing. Hurting their egos, and hurting the ego will automatically put you in front of their minds, right? Hurting their ego will automatically, but you got to make sure the right type of hurting ego. You can't be banging their friends. You can't be cheating on them. Nah, kind of stuff. That's not what we're talking about. Hurting ego could be a little slight. Maybe you have a new personal trainer and you praise your personal trainer. He gets jealous, but then he realizes he's gay, right? Right? It hurt their ego, but temporarily, right? It could be that all of a sudden you're going to a party, you're going to a girl's night out, but you don't invite him because it's only a girl's night out. It could be that you work too much. Sometimes you're unavailable, right? That happens. And that type of stuff it offends people, but not in a way that makes them not like you. It offends people in a way that makes them drawn to you. The next one is embracing your contradictions. You got to understand the universe works through contradictions. There's hot, there's cold, right? There's animals that look pretty and adorable. They're friend shaped, but they'll eat you alive, right? Without hesitation. The nicest people are the most manipulative. People who appear to be the most moral, a lot of the times, are the most immoral. And so, because of that, we sort of have an understanding that contradictions is part of humans, but for some reason in the public light, we put a lot of effort to hide that. What you don't know is that your contradictions is what draws people to you. Your shadow, in this case, right? The contradictions we're gonna be referring to in this is your shadow, gender, shadow side, and the gender. These two contradictions are some of the most attractive qualities you guys can embrace in your life, right? So then let's first talk about the masculine. The reason why is because people have repressed attraction towards the opposite sex. Maybe some more than others. But the thing is that when you remind people of the opposite sex, right, through traits or habits or routines or sports that you play, or maybe the way you dress, the way you move, the way you talk reminds them of the opposite sex, or your demeanor, it creates an extra level of excitement because it gives you an edge. And no matter who you are, if you meet someone who has integrated the opposite sex, they will draw you out. It will make you emotional. They radiate a certain level of excitement that when they pull away, you're gonna chase simply because it's so rare to meet someone who has embraced their opposite sex. And so it's more so the scarcity principle we're gonna be applying here. And let's listen to what Robert Greene says about this.
Reconnect the masculine or feminine within you.
The
The
law
law
of
of gender rigidity.
It's one of my favorite chapters.
All of us have masculine and feminine qualities. Some of this is genetic, and some of it comes from the profound influence of the parent of the opposite sex. But in the need to present a consistent identity in society, we tend to repress these qualities.
You tend to see this a lot with boys who were not raised with their dads. A lot of the times they can't control their emotions, because usually that I mean I don't want to generalize, but usually the dad is the one that puts discipline. And a lot of the times, discipline requires controlling your emotions, right? The mom is there to provide comfort, right, and validation, which is great. But the discipline part is also as important, right? And so a lot of times those boys are not comfortable with their masculinity because they were not around masculine men. And so what tends to happen is that they'll exaggerate their masculinity. They'll become overly masculine, and that over masculinity will push some women away. They'll see it as intimidating. What that guy should do actually is to have a little hint of femininity. Fucking put a flower in your head, motherfucker. Like do something feminine, right? Like kiss a baby, like freaking walk dogs, some shit, right? A little bit of masculinity makes you less threatening. When people feel comfortable around you, they don't feel threatened around you. They become more emotional around you.
Over identifying with the masculine or feminine role expected of us. And we pay a price for this. We lose valuable dimensions to our character. Our thinking and ways of acting become rigid.
Imagine if I didn't have a feminine side, right? Just think about that. This channel, I wish this channel had more views. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, but this channel wouldn't be what it is because even though if I don't get like 50K views per video, at the end of the day, I've helped you guys out. At the end of the day, this channel has a loyal following. It's very strong loyal following. And the big portion of it is because you guys consent to my contradictions, right? And one of the contradictions is the masculine and the feminine.
Our relationships with members of the opposite sex suffer as we project onto them our own fantasies and hostilities. We must become aware of these lost masculine or feminine traits and slowly reconnect to them, unleashing creative powers in the process.
And that's why with me, for example, with the reconnecting with the masculine and the feminine, it creates, for me at least, the ability to enjoy art, the ability to enjoy the little things in life, the ability to enjoy nature, right? Or even reading books that most guys wouldn't read, or doing things that, for example, going to meditation retreat is usually a woman thing. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, especially with my culture, Hispanics, Black people, it's not something that we do. We're like, oh man, you meditating, bro? That's good shit, right? And that tends to you lose out on points on being someone that people are just drawn to. You just lose out on that. Fuck out of here.
Masculine or feminine traits and slowly reconnect to them, unleashing creative powers in the process. You will become more fluid in your thinking and bringing out the masculine or feminine undertone to your character. You will fascinate people by being authentically yourself. Do not play the expected gender role, but rather
Play with them, flaunt
create
them,
the one that suits you.
right? And that brings a liberty, right? And I'm telling you, man, I'm telling you, like I genuinely think that nobody is turned off by people who have hints of the opposite traits in them and in their personality or habits. It could be, for example, let's just say The Rock, right? Let's just say The Rock, while he was in WWF, you find out that The Rock likes gardening, for example. That really adds a more dimension to The Rock, more than if you found out that The Rock likes to fix cars, right? You get what I'm saying? Like when you find out that The Rock likes to garden and loves flowers, and yet he's fucking rock bottoming people. That will give him more dimension because now you're like, okay, there's another side, another universe of The Rock that we don't know of, right? Now, the next one we're gonna talk about is embracing embracing the shadow side, right? And this shadow is what gives contours to your personality, right? Your light side is the two-dimensional aspect. The shadow side is when you start to shade in a drawing to give it three-dimensionality. Too many people are one-dimensional. Too many people don't have that dark side. And let's read from a chapter of Robert Greene where he talks about the integrated human, the human who has embraced their shadow side.
Chapter 9. Your dark side.
The
The
law
law
of
of repression.
repression. You don't want to be repressed. You don't.
Rarely who they seem to be. Lurking beneath their polite, affable exterior is
The
innocent
shadow
dark
side.
shadows.
And now let me tell you something, man. This is honestly so true. This is honestly really true, man, because you got to be careful with people. People in the public light, even people like me, honestly. Like I say that because it's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? But even with me, you got to question me because everyone is not who they appear to be on the outside. They're not. And we've seen this so many times that the people who commit the most heinous crimes usually have the most beautiful public light, right? You usually see that. Look at P Diddy. Well, P Diddy was fucking everyone knew P Diddy, right? But usually the ones that flaunt, for example, the woman who check out the woman who wrote White Fragility, right? She was in that book. She talked about how people should not be plagiarizing minorities. And you know what she did? She plagiarized minority. The most judgmental person said, "Oh, white people are all racist." That was the whole book, right? And she was like, "Oh, people should not be plagiarizing from minorities. They should always cite them." To find out this bitch fucking plagiarized black people. In that book, it's kind of shocking, right? But that's a side. That's a sign of someone who has repressed their shadow side, right? Um, and when you express your shadow side, find ways to express your shadow side. It'll come across as authentic and people will just be more drawn to it. And honestly, you'll notice, man, people who you really, really fall in love with have a pronounced shadow or have a mix of the masculine and the feminine. Those are the people who create emotional reactions in you consistently.
Consisting of the insecurities, aggressive, selfish impulses they repress and carefully conceal from public view. This dark side leaks out in behavior that will baffle and harm you. Learn to recognize the signs of the shadow before they become toxic. See people's overt traits, toughness, saintliness, etc., as covering up the
The
opposite
opposite,
quality.
right?
You must become aware of your own dark side. In being
Like
conscious,
me, look at me, right? Me, I have a need for control. Okay, I have a strong need for control. I started to notice that in my whole life. Um, I tend to hold opposite views. I tend to have a dark sense of humor. Could be a little offensive. I could come across as a little racist. I'm not racist. I could just, but listen, man, I may come across, you know what I mean? Saying I make some jokes that I shouldn't be making, right? And what it does is that it makes you polarizing, right? And but also it gives you charisma, and not a lot of people are gonna like you. That's a fact, right? But when people actually get to know you, they'll notice that there's depth to you. They'll notice that you're just there's just more depth because they can see a dark side, and if there's a dark side, that means there's a whole room full of darkness that you just don't know yet, and it's really, really attractive. And usually, the people who are drawn to you are people who have repressed the sides that you have unrepressed. The little white girl from church dating Tyrone the drug. No, that's fucking stereotype. See, that's the racist side of me, people. Bob the drug dealer, people, right? Dating Bob the drug dealer, right? um, and those and opposites, the trait opposites attract. You have a repressed gay side, you're gonna meet someone who has an unrepressed gay side, and that person will bring out the gay in you, right? And you could I could totally imagine a secretly gay person being seduced by a gay person who knows that they're gay. That is bringing them out. Oh God, I could just imagine that the pressure and that dude. They're like, they must be going through an existential crisis. But that gay guy will be so irresistible to him because they want to be able to let go of that unrepressed side. So you being unrepressed. causes people to be drawn to you because they also want to be unrepressed, but they don't want to do it. So they'll vicariously live through you by being attracted to you, being drawn to you. Now, the next one, which is very powerful, weakness. Using weakness. Now, you gotta be careful with this, right? Um, because a lot of manipulators use this. A lot of people who don't give a fuck will literally use weakness as a way to manipulate you. And the reason why is because when you like someone and you're attracted to someone, the sympathy mixed with physical attraction can sometimes create love. And that weakness doesn't have to be like something fake, people. You're weak. You're weak by motherfucker. You are naturally weak. Just choose the right weakness to show. You don't have to show all your weaknesses, and you don't have to fake weaknesses. You could just be honest and just choose which one to show. Like, come on, man. Like, if you're somebody who's naturally depressed, express that you have depression, right? And when you need help, ask the person for help. Well, what happened is that the weakness will create in the person an emotional, and will make the person emotionally invested in you. Your physical and emotional weakness. It's like the damsel in distress. That's why guys tend to be attracted to women who have weak side, who are, well, it depends, right? They have to be they have to have the emotional um the emotional attachment towards people who are weak. Here's a strategy from the 33 strategies of war that depicts this strategy.
Seeming to submit. Dominate while seeming to submit. Any attempt to bend people to your will is a form of aggression. In a world where political considerations are paramount, the most effective form of aggression is the best hidden one. Aggression behind a compliant, even loving exterior. Follow the passive aggressive strategy. You must seem to go along with people, offering no resistance. But actually, you dominate the situation. You are non-committal, even a little helpless, but that only means that everything revolves around you. Some people may sense when you are up telling them.
Right, you're helpless, but even in your helplessness, you're the center of the attention, and your helplessness will cause people to just become more emotionally invested in you. Right. And now, look, man, this honestly, this turns people into manipulators, honestly, because a lot of people will notice that when they're sick, people are more drawn to them. Right. They'll notice that when they're sick, people just want to help them more. But the problem with that is that a lot of people will get a taste as to the power of the strategy. Right. They'll get a taste and they'll be like, oh my God, like when I'm weak, people pay attention to me. Like it's something that a lot of people notice. Kids notice that. Dogs notice that. Little freaking manipulators and shit, right? And so it's a problem with this because you don't know. Like, I mean, honestly, like you can't be really questioning people's weaknesses, but for your sake, right? Do not be afraid to be vulnerable. Do not be afraid to tell people some bad things that happen in your life. I am not telling you to. I'm not promoting that you intentionally use this to elicit a response. What I'm saying is, don't be afraid to open up. I'm not telling you this to manipulate. I'm just telling you that one, open up, and two, there are benefits to opening up. People actually like you more, right? But when you're too strong, when you're too self-reliant, people would not know how to, like, they're just, they might feel too intimidated by you. If you're a woman, for example, your strength might be too intimidating. In fact, you being too strong of a woman creates sugar baby dudes. Like fucking like, seriously, sugar baby dudes, man. When you're too independent, guys become sugar babies. It's kind of crazy, right? But I want you, even when you have, like, just say your puppy dies, right? You're dating someone, ask them for comfort. Ask them for comfort. If they truly like you, your weakness will increase how much they like you. If they don't like you, their lack of comfort will show you that this is not the relationship you want to be in. All right, so let's listen to the story of this lady who watches my channel, and she managed to do everything that I say in this video, and she got the results that she wanted, right? And if you listen to this, it's just more so to give you guys the trust in my videos, because I understand the things that I say sound risky, but they work. But sometimes you need to see somebody else apply it for you to actually have believe in yourself. You guys just don't believe me, you know,
by just listening to Father ads. Listen to this. Emily first spotted Jack at a bustling party hosted by a mutual friend. Amidst laughter and lively conversation, she found herself drawn to his easy charm and infectious smile. Intrigued, Emily decided to embark on a subtle yet strategic approach to captivate Jake's attention and hopefully his heart. Okay. I changed names, From the start, Emily was a challenge. She knew that in order to stand out, she had to control the pace of their beginning relationship. While she found Jack captivating, she made sure not to be overly available, maintaining her own busy schedule and interests. Emily adhered to a 3-date rule, assessing after each encounter whether Jake was truly interested in pursuing something deeper. With each meeting, she left just enough mystery to keep him wanting more. Okay, you understand, man, she was strategic. And it's kind of like, for some reason, we're strategic in every area of life, but not dating. But the problem is that some people are really manipulative, so I understand why people is frowned upon. Jake, intrigued by Emily's enigmatic nature, was drawn to her unpredictability. One evening, after a particular enjoyable date, Emily decided to compliment Jake on his thoughtfulness and consistency. She noticed how he lit up all her words. His ego suddenly boosted, and she understood how this encouragement deepened his affection for her. Emily also embraced her contradictions. In public, she was confident, vibrant woman who seemed to have the world at her feet. But in private, she allowed Jake to see glimpses of her vulnerabilities, sharing stories of her dreams and fears. This duality fascinated Jake, as he felt honored to witness her private self, a side she seldom revealed to anyone. You see, that's the thing. You can't be showing off your psycho side and expect that to be a compliment when you show it off to someone else. No. If you're psycho, hide that in public, so that then when they see the psycho in private, it's a privilege. No, that's an exaggeration. Periodically, Emily would introduce a sudden coldness into her interactions. If Jake ever took her presence for granted, she will pull back slightly, allowing him to consider her value. This strategic withdrawal made Jake stop and reflect on how much he enjoyed her company, increasing his appreciation for her once she re-engaged. And this is the next point: coldness. You have to have some coldness every now and then, people. We're not in global warming, all right? Well, you got to be a little cold. If you're consistently hot, there's nothing wrong with that, because that's the source of that's the foundation of a deep connection. But every now and then, just don't respond for like half a day. Every now and then. If you always respond at night, once a month, don't respond. Once every 2 months, don't respond. Let that adrenaline hit their hearts, and where you going? Hey, over here. Oh my God, my hands is flying away. Shut up. Cannot just be all warm and fuzzy feelings. You know what I'm saying? You have to sometimes give them a taste of something else, because at the end of the day, there is a cold side in you. There is a cold side. You just choose not to do it, right? If you got a cold side too, you're a cold shot, right? It's a food. And sometimes we forget how valuable you are because you're always there. Like, value is assessed in its absence. You get what I'm saying? And if you are always consistent, then you're just being selfish. You're only thinking of yourself, and you're not thinking about human nature. People need absence. People need a break from your ass. People need some distance from time to time, man. Like, this is like it's like, now some relationships are codependent, nothing wrong with that, right? But I'm just saying that even the codependent ones, you want to have some physical distance. It's just human nature. You can't just look at the way nature works. It works through waves or cycles. This is a cycle, right? Waves. Even when fishes swim, they have ups and downs. Life, ups and downs. Things get hot, get cold, right? Same thing with relationship. What in the fuck are you doing? It's not an everlasting up climb. Sometimes you have ups and downs, and the ups and downs is what makes it healthy. But when you don't give that, people are repelled by that because it's not nature. Nature is ups and downs, hot and cold. If there's no hot or cold, created and artificially created, man. Come on, man. Like, seriously. Emily would periodically introduce certain coldness to the interaction. If Jake ever took her presence for granted, she will poke back slightly, allowing him to reconsider her values. Exactly. And so she's doing everything that I tell people to do, to be honest with you. This is happy Alex right now. This strategic withdrawal made Jake stop and reflect on how much he enjoyed her company, right? This is what tends to happen. Is that when you withdraw, people reassess your value, and it usually increases. Throughout their growing connection, Emily was open about her weakness. She shared tales of her past failures and insecurities, making her relatable and genuine. Jake admired her honesty and the courage it took to reveal her imperfections, which only deepened his emotional connection with her. Over the course of 3 months, Emily's careful application of my principles led to a rich and meaningful relationship with Jake. He realized that Emily was unlike anyone he's ever met, even though she is like anyone he's ever met. Complex, intriguing, and authentic. By maintaining her individuality and embracing both her strengths and weaknesses, Emily, or Melissa, successfully turned Jake on emotionally, setting the stage for a profound and lasting bond, people. These strategies work, man. You have to apply it. The only thing that's making you hesitant is fear. It's fear. You'd be surprised, people are more insecure than they seem. You applying this will not turn them off. In fact, you applying this, I'm a fucking guy, foul. You applying this will actually turn them on. All right? Anyways, if you guys want to learn how to apply these strategies, I have a lot of courses to offer you guys, okay? You could finish the video and watch the advertisement where I describe to you the courses that I have available for you. So I'll see you guys later. Take care.
So a lot of you guys have been asking me, how can I purchase all of your courses in one go? Well, if you guys want to purchase all of them, you guys can join the Mindful Attraction University, people. Yeah, that's right. And in this, you'll be able to access all of my courses for $3.99. Initially, if you purchase all of my courses, Emotional Mastery, Psychological Game of Attraction, my new course, The Feminine Woman, Natural Chemistry, Charisma Blueprint, Nice Girl, you guys can purchase all of it for $600, but with the bundle deal, you guys can purchase it for $3.99. Or you guys can purchase it in 3 easy payments of $125, people. Yeah, that's right. Or you guys can purchase it with the bonuses. So not only do you get the courses, but the bonuses. And that comes down to $7.99 or 4 easy and mindful payments of $199. Now, these bonuses are not regular bonuses. These bonuses are legit, almost like courses within a course, right? So you guys can just click on the description down below and explore the types of bonuses. For example, I have bonuses on how to get over your ex, how to become more creative, how to, especially in the feminine woman, I have a bonus about how to penetrate the mind and how to speak in a way that gets people to do what you want them to do. Like, it's honestly one of the craziest sections that I've ever made, because most of these courses, people, I come up with those ideas in meditation retreats. Nobody goes to the extent that I go. I go to meditation retreat to create these courses. There's a 14-day money-back guarantee. If you don't like it, just ask me for the money back within 14 days, and I'll give you all the money back. Father Alex has never rejected a money-back offer if I offered it. So, and if you guys already purchased one of my courses, for example, and you guys want to get the bonuses while getting a discount, you know what I'm saying? I have discount codes for people who purchase my courses. So if you purchase my courses, just send me a private message. Or if you work with me one-on-one, I'll give you a big discount for the courses. And there I can help all of you guys. Understand that this is a movement. Most people never knew this type of knowledge before. And I am trying to empower women across the world and liberate them from these negative and one-sided relationships through these courses. So hopefully you guys can spread the message and help other people out. And I'll see you guys inside. Or else I'm close to the